Hey all, I wanted to follow up on some of the questions about hotkeys that came up on chat the other day. I was going to show something real quick on the editor utility widgets, which the best analog is probably how you could build a Maya shelf inside the UI. It doesn't really solve the hotkey issue, and I'm not aware of how you can assign hotkeys to these little buttons. But I was looking at the documentation and it looks more code based than it is. It's pretty quick to set up, so I thought I would just put something together real fast to kind of show you guys what was possible, if it feels familiar. And this is kind of with an eye towards if everyone's coming from animation land, then maybe Maya feels real familiar. So not quite a hotkey fix, but maybe something that not everybody is totally aware of. Also, I'm not a tutorial person by nature, so I will try and keep this short and sweet. But the utility widgets are pretty straightforward, but if you haven't run one yet, it may not be clear how to kind of get going. Like if you go up through the windows and everything, under tools and window, like nothing is showing up. If you have an editor utility widget in a project you're using and you double click on it, it will open like the editor to kind of author these things and not, use them directly. So I just double clicked on that one and it brings up like the giant unhelpful editor. But if you hit run utility widget either from the button here or by right clicking the thing in the drawer, you're good to go. And so if you say run that widget, ta-da, it's running. And so you have a little UI element, and I can close this other thing now. From now on, this thing has registered with the editor. So under tools, you now have an editor utility widgets menu that was not there before. Sneaky, sneaky editor. But now you've got this thing, and you can, I'll show you in a second, but you can make buttons that do things like toggle game mode on and off, toggle console commands to show the FPS up in the corner here, or fancier stuff to show the bones of a skeletal mesh actor in editor. So all this stuff is doable, and it's just a menu like anything else. So you can get quite fancy and dock things, and then you probably can see where this is going. Like this is the kind of the Maya shellfish thing I was alluding to earlier. And you can hide the tabs and all that fancy stuff. So you can get, you can imagine making a bunch of little buttons once you find all the things that you like doing all the time. You can kind of stack all this stuff up here. So anyways, if that's useful, keep watching. If not, we can be done right now. So the thing I wanted to show is now basically just making one. It's really, really easy. You can just go right click, and this stuff's been around since I think like 4.23. And it used to be a plugin that you had to enable. I don't believe that's true anymore. I'm running in a custom build of 5.4, but this should be true in 5.6 and on. But you'll see an editor utility menu, and you can just make a widget. And I'm just going to take a stack box, one of the default examples here, and we'll just call this example. Then we'll open it, get the editor up and running, and you're presented basically, there are better tutorials for all this stuff online elsewhere. So I will give you the really just brutal fast version of this. Like these utility widgets give you two big places to do your work. And these are two buttons right here. There's the designer, which is essentially like the UI, what your buttons are, what color they are, the fonts, like how smart it is about resizing and all that stuff happens here. Graph is just like any other blueprint land thing where you're giving it the logic of when I press the button, what do I want to have happen? So we'll go back to the designer, and again, I will just add a canvas panel quite quickly set it to just fill the space, and then I will add a button, a utility button, and I'll just drag it onto that canvas, and now I'm good to go. And I'll make it a little bit bigger, and then because it's a little tedious, I will then give that button a label with a text thing, and I just drop it on top. And I will give that text block a my button. Oh, sorry, this is very tiny. Yoink. Anyways, and as you can see, as I've dragged things out onto the canvas here, they are showing up down in the hierarchy menu down here. And so there's the form that we picked when we set this thing up, the canvas panel I added, the button, and then the text on top of it. So all super straightforward. I can compile this thing, I can save it, and if I go up to my window, tools, still don't see it, what's going on? Run utility widget. There it is, my button, which does nothing, but you can see it's pretty fast to just get a window up and running, and then it's registered up here. So we'll just close out all of that. So I'm on the button, not the text that says my button, but the button itself. And yeah, I want to do something when that button is clicked. I hit this plus sign, I'm taken from the designer over to the graph view, and on this event, on clicked. And here's where things get both fun and complicated. This is where you want to tell it like what your logic is, like to turn that particular thing on or off in the viewport, or to select some things, deselect some things, whatever you want to do. But you can just drag off these things, and there's a bunch of ways to find these commands. Some of them you can get lucky by just a quick search. So if I look for like game mode, or what was it like? I think it's like toggle game mode. Yeah, toggle game view. Like you can get lucky, right? Like where there's a pre-packaged thing where it's like, oh, this is what I want to do. And then you can compile this and save it and then run it, and suddenly it's just like hitting the G key. But it can be kind of gnarly to find stuff every once in a while. So the things that I do, and this is just my version of it, is again, like you can do like a lucky search like this where you just find something that's kind of pre-canned and does what you need. There's also a ton of information to be gleaned from looking at the UI and the menus that are already listed. So in the editor preferences under keyboard shortcuts, you can see all these keywords for like visualize or the different buffers. And so you can find other nodes in here to help capture that stuff. The other thing to do is if you go to help and then get to the console variables, it'll launch this web page. And if you look at the show flags are basically a lot of the menu items down in here. So if you really hate like when it's showing you like the selection set all the time, like you can do that via console command. Rather than going through all that brand new, we'll just go back to my test one and open that up real quick. Go to the graph. So these buttons, like there's that toggle game view. You can pick the set and editor viewport buffer if you wanted to. I don't know why you would, but you can. By buffer visualization, you can pick these names and just tell it to show that thing. So I'll get rid of my FPS command, and then now I'm showing the base color view, and you can see it update here. So the execute console commands also works. You can toggle stuff. You can put in a bunch of flip-flop nodes to go back and forth between what was the default and what is custom, which is what I'm doing with the bones command here. And so you can also see down below, if I show the output log, when I'm showing when I clicked on that bones button and it showed the skeleton here for my skeleton mesh, it also is printing out what I just executed. So toggle it off, goes to number 2, which is default, back on, back off, back on, back off. So hopefully that helps. You know, the console window, much like Maya, where you could kind of go in and see what was getting executed, then copy paste and, you know, get little scripts. You can harvest little bits here and there, and then drop some of those useful commands into these execute console commands. So I know that's a lot, but you know, you can kind of find your way through this stuff. And if it feels useful and comfortable, then you can kind of get into it more and make some pretty nice UI elements that scale appropriately and do good things. But hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully it was useful. And yeah, I guess that's all for now.